Hello and welcome, my name is Drake598 Shadow, and I am here today to give you a tutorial on Chapter 3, Spacehulk Deathwing. I am playing on the hardest difficulty, just using a standard sort of apothecary loadout, so it is easily repeatable on any of the easier difficulties.
Gene Stealer human hybrids attempted to propel a part of the Space Hulk into a gravity well. After a difficult battle, we defeated them. And we destroyed many nests that were supplying the enemy with constant reinforcements. As the aliens fell before our assaults, we gathered more precise information about the location of the ancient ship from Lost Caliban. We drew much ire from the Xenos, but matched it with our righteous hate, and thrust towards the ancient signal like a blade into the heart of our foes.
Some key things to note that I mentioned in the last videos was you fire from the right hand side going in most cases. Your melee attack on your left will block a lot more of your left hand side than you might think, and try to spread the damage across most of the sectors of your body as much as possible. The intro there is pretty much self-explanatory, but Chapter 3 is pretty easy. I like to lock the first door here. Anything that is in that room will then get funneled up to the next door. Up, and we are pretty clear to proceed to the tunnel. I do like to be relatively quick here, as the longer you take, the more chances that you'll get a blue board or cycle spawn on you. And I like to go through the door in the centre. You could go either side, but you have more chances that the broodlord will spawn down the other end, or a cipher. Do be aware that there will be lots of shooter and rocket launcher mobs on this map. And straight through the next door down here. You can feel free to lock this door up, as we will not be returning this way. That is a psyker, so they're always a high priority target. And you are clear then to proceed to the first relic, which is just down the end, to the right, and in this little alcove here. Continue straight to the wall and head down to the open door at the end. That's right, the locker's on the right hand side. The next door's lock will also be on the right hand side, which is a good thing to know, as most of the time locks are on the left. We're going to go up to the left, down these stairs. Through the little tube into the circular building in the centre of the map. Some people do like to trigger the beacon before they get into this section here, but that's just because they would travel up along that route there. We are more or less just here for the little relic that you can probably hear in the background. Those whispers are normally a telltale sign that a relic is fairly close. Through that breakable wall, and we're just going to go back out the door we came in, locking it up behind us as we do not go back this way. You can quite easily, but personally I prefer to take out the turret near the extraction point before having to return there later, as on the harder difficulties you never know what's going to spawn in those areas. So might as well heal up a bit.
Identifies the remains as Brother Magon, a dark angel from the earliest days of exterminate them before they assemble sufficient strength.
Feel free to lock that door up as we do not come back this way. You can get broodlords and ciphers spawn here. Generally not in this section of the chapter, but on return to extraction. So the main reason we're here is to deal with this active turret. So off to the left hand side here there is a relic behind a breakable wall. You can leave it till later when returning, but as it is relatively quiet at this point in the chapter, until you get to the next objective, I would recommend picking it up now. You can lock this door if you want. I normally wouldn't bother locking that door as we return that way, but upon returning you can just as easily break it down, so do be aware that there can be quite a few shooters in this next area, as well as rocket launchers. They will normally spawn down that passage there, as well as a couple of areas of note that I'll show along the route. So they could be down there, for instance, or in here, or up there, and possibly even here as well. It depends on how you're progressing through the chapter and how long it is taking you, essentially, I've found. the quicker you are, the less chances you have that they'll actually be there. I normally lock this first large door. I leave number 3, I don't really worry about it, not many people go that way. And go through number 1, locking that up behind us. We return this way, but we go through that breakable wall. There is an enemy spawn point there, but not too many enemies tend to come that way for this next part. Depending on your group size and composition, I normally like to make a note for who I'm working with that the Broodlords and Ciphers will not get past this point if you need a fallback point. You want to go into this room, but be aware there's an active turret, so you want to take that out first before running in. To trigger those horrid sounds, which lets you know the purge has begun. And then lock the door behind you, funneling all the enemies that you need to kill for the purge into this area here, making them a lot safer and easier to engage. Unfortunately, it looks like I've used my barrels now. We've got one left. As you can see, by doing it this way, you just pretty much draw all the enemies into your front section, so you can deal with them as well, rather than having to worry about one sort or the other. You can engage them in that room, just that you can easily get surrounded, and there are 2 turrets down the opposite end as well, one on either side. But I think we've gotten lucky today, and we haven't gotten either a Cypher or a Broodlord here, so... There we go.
Another swarm is coming. Block the access bulkheads to hamper its progress.
So back up this way, the way we came. They do like to try to sneak up behind you, that's for sure. Yes, do be aware there is an active turret just behind me there. Most of this is sort of self-explanatory. As I said, Chapter 3 is relatively easy compared to some of the others. So we're going to just go down this tube here, which brings us, as you can see, to the opposite end where we were, and back out into the centre of the map, taking our next right turn. So through here and into the first destroy lock target. If you were with a group, you could easily have someone lock the door, and you'd probably want your abilities up by now, but as I'm just playing solo here for demonstration purposes, I am just going to rush the target so I do not get too swarmed and overwhelmed here.
Mission success will greatly impede the swarm's ability to gather.
You can take out the rock turrets if you want, in case you ever return this way, but in most cases you do not. We then take the first door on the right here, bringing us to the next relic. You can feel free to lock this up. And we go around. Do be aware of tubes like this. Enemies can easily come in from those sorts of areas. So there's the relic. And we go down, having left the little alcove. Can lock this door if you want. I normally do not engage across these platforms here to destroy those targets. I find it quite difficult a lot of the time. If you don't have the right group composition, you can easily get swamped and taken out at range from that route. So I like to go straight ahead and through the double doors, locking it behind me. Through here into the center door, or the center room, sorry. Locking that door as we go. Now you can leave that one unlocked, as we may need to come back this way, depending on how we go. It depends entirely upon what is in the room ahead of us, as you'll see in a second, and whether or not you have brood lords or ciphers on the map, and you can take them out and engage. I'm just going to go this way and lock this up. I may need to retreat this way, but I don't think so at the moment, as it seems quiet. This is essentially your starting point. Well, your starting point is from up there where you come out the tubes. As you can see, I do like to sort of circle around and alternate between firing my weapon and melee. You're probably going to want to be as quick here as possible. Again, what I do like to do is just rush straight into this crate here and shoot the targets, as the turret that is there will not be able to
Mission
get a range.
success will allow other Deathwing squads to respond.
You can then proceed to take out the turret from that position. It is a lot easier. And your objective being done, you can then proceed to leave and lock up. If you ever do go to reload and don't really mean to, you can cancel that via just pushing L1 to block. Okay, so that's one reason why we leave that other door unlocked. So that is a Broodlord. I cannot outrun that. If it was a Cypher, we could outrun it. But a Broodlord is a little bit difficult in those sorts of open areas to move around. So we're just going to open this door back up. And go through the one we did not lock up in this room. Rather than going to the open door on the right hand side through that open area that you can see on the minimap there. You could go back and lock that door up, but I do not really feel the need personally. I prefer to go to the right and then the left. It'll get us closer to the pillar in the center here, which can have shooters and rocket launchers on it, as you can see here. Got him with that. And then through here, and this breakable, oh, that is a psyker. Through this breakable wall here is the last relic. So we're going to the right now to fulfill this last destroy lock target objective. I'd recommend your squad having your abilities up around now, and hopefully one of you has a full stamina bar. There's that psyker, or maybe another one again. Either way, I'm going to lock this door. Normally I probably wouldn't, and I would just rush it, as the turret is behind the door, but with that psyker there, I wanted that extra cautionary second or two, just to make sure that I had killed him in the first place.
Flanks and rear zones have been secured. You are safe to proceed to the Caliban's will.
I would then normally go through that little tube there. Again, you can lock the doors, but it is not really necessary. Lock this door behind us. And just down here, there is going to be another active turret that you want to kill. Do be aware that the lights there in the center strip do get in your way when aiming from a long distance. And you can also have shooters positioned here as well. which can increase that problematic, as you just saw a rocket from somewhere there. So then we just go down here. Okay, where are we? And out the door, into the center of the map again. Skipping the first entrance, sorry about the lag there. Skipping the first entrance and going to the second. A similar sort of exit to the one you just left. And we'll continue straight up. This is why I said there was no real reason to lock that door from earlier. But at the same time, it's neither here nor there at this point. So the first door there is blocked, so you're going to want to go in this second one. You can lock it if you wish, but I'm just going to run ahead and move into this next door, just because of those sorts of reasons, and lock that one instead. This is much easier playing with a group, as you can play with up to 4 people, or 3 other people, and it is a good deal of fun. I highly recommend this game. And we are off into the hangar, so calculations are running for the end of objective. Within this blue square, the calculations will continue to run. If you do have Brood Lords or Ciphers, that position and that position are your 2 best fallbacks. But we will just finish off the map here, as it seems relatively quiet right now. If you did not come this way earlier, the turret will be up there, as you can see. It can just be a bit more problematic to take out at the later stages if you are being chased. So I have been Drake598 Shadow. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any comments or questions about the maps, feel free to ask in the comments below and I'll try to answer. I will endeavour to do a tutorial for each one of these maps, just to explain the fastest and safest routes, essentially. They are not always one and the same. Yeah, and explain why I do certain things to, as for instance in that mission, funnel all the Xenos you were supposed to be killing into one area so that you can easily face them. So I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you very much for tuning in. Enjoy your day.